Welcome to Life by Design, episode 389. Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Dr. Jamie Richards, and I'm joined today by my colleague and good pal, Dr. Craig Shojag.
Nice to be here, as always.
Yeah, so today we're talking about the best diet advice we can give. We get a lot of questions coming into the show. We cover food on a regular basis. We talk about Eat by Design, and we can get into the details and we can get into the weeds about some of these topics, and that can be a lot of fun for us. And I'm sure there's a handful of listeners who, truly enjoy the details and the science and the minutia. Yet at the same time, it's great to be able to distill information down into one simple take-home message. So let's talk about the context here first, Craig, and then we'll give them the punchline once we dive into it, and then we'll break that down a bit and give you some very clear action steps and clarify this for you. So what's the best diet advice I can give? Well, let me go back, and I know you had wrote this to your people and sent this out, and I thought this was really good. And I have it in front of me, so I'll read it, and you can maybe talk about some of these concepts for yourself. You used to think, and I think a lot of people did, and if you're listening to this, you may already and still think these things. You used to think fat made you fat. Used to think carbs made you fat. I love this one. Used to think anything that wasn't organic was poison. Maybe we should just stop on that one a bit, Horatio. I think this is an important point, especially when people lean towards a more, naturalist approach to life. I would call what we endorse more of a non-interventionist, maybe more than a naturalist, but nonetheless, I think it's normal and very common to think, oh, well, organic is better, and if it's not organic, it's poison.
Well, yeah, I mean, like heroin and cocaine are organic too, right? Right. So it's just that thing, right? Like tongue in cheek a little bit, and yes, of course, if it's the closer something is, and this kind of gets to the advice that we're going to give, right. But the closer something is to its natural form, the better it is for you, right? So I mean, right. Sure, if you're going to do heroin, organic heroin probably is better than a synthetic one. For maybe, I don't know how your body assimilates it, but the standard isn't. That's not necessarily the standard. The standard when it comes to your diet is how well your body breaks it down and assimilates it.
Right. I think it was Joel who said, organic cat turd is still cat turd.
That's it. Right. And we've done a podcast on this, right?
I think we have. Yes.
Just because something is paleo or keto or vegan or vegetarian, It's the same thing. It doesn't make it good for you.
Well, that's it. I mean, right now, the big trend with keto, keto bread, keto pancakes, keto just means that it has no or minimal amount of carbohydrate.
Keto heroin, same thing, right? Like you can apply this, right? It doesn't matter. Sure. Keto cat turds, you still shouldn't be consuming.
You got it. Used to think sugar is the devil. Again, their body has a glucose metabolism, so it can process a certain amount of sugar. So again, the context there is not that sugar is devil or fructose is devil or fruit made you fat or you had to eat small meals and then it was fasting and, then it was breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Then it was saturated fat and cholesterol will kill you, or skipping a meal is bad for you, or too much protein is bad on the kidneys. Grains, how can you skip grains? They're an entire food group. And really at the end of the day, a lot of our thoughts on those concepts are the opposite of what I just said. It comes down to one simple take home. And what I loved about your post is that it's principle number one in Eat by Design. And I'm sure you understood that when you wrote the post, but the best diet advice we can give, there's a reason why we made this the first principle. So let's share the principle and then we'll talk about it a touch. Just eat real food. That's it.
Yep.
There's especially, and again, I know you made the point, it has helped you, get rid of some of the negative self-talk and reduce the stress. And I'm not suggesting there's not a time and a place to measure your macros and to do some food counting and calorie. That stuff can be very valuable in the right context. At the same time, I think as a general lens to look at how you're eating, just eating real food is a wonderful, wonderful starting point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. I think the post was written, or the context of the email, it's an email that was written, was just, I've seen a lot of people. So now that we're back in practice, one of the things that's been happening is, people have come in or people have reached out and they've just shared, how difficult of a time this has been for them. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. There's always a lot to learn about yourself and a lot to learn about how other people process things during times of stress. And a lot of people, we've had people in our practice who have had really bad gouts, attacks, and just things that are really nutritional heavy things because their diet has really fallen apart under times of stress. Right. And, and I'm proud to say, after 12 years of work, working really hard at this, I was able to, food was less of I was just reflecting on how much less of a comfort factor food was for me during these stressful times, right? Because I've developed the proper relationships, and I think that's the big thing where people struggle the most is there's just such pressure around eating and body composition and fat, and I got to do this and I got to eat this way, and now I'm fasting and now I'm doing this, and I'm like, man, the exact opposite of that is what's going to be necessary for you to get to everything that you want to get in your nutritional goals.
Right. Well, the thing I thought about when I read your article and your post, the thing that really stuck with me is, repeating this mantra, just eat real food, gives people a lens to look at how they're eating. I know for us, whether it be our Facebook groups or the podcast, we'll get these questions, and I mean this very nicely. And so this isn't meant to be, it's not even tongue in cheek. It's I'm really being honest. If you have a question or you're thinking about, what should I eat? Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? If you simply repeat in your mind, just eat real food, if that answers your question, then great. Then you can move on, right? It's simply a flow chart. So you're in the grocery store and you're like, oh, here's an apple. Is this eating by design? Just eat real food. Oh, good. I can eat this. You get into the next aisle. Oh, here's a bag of chips. Can I eat this? Is this good for me? Just eat real food. Oh, okay. This isn't real food. Maybe I need to decide whether I'm going to incorporate this or not today. So using that as a lens, as a starting point, I think it distills down a lot of the complexity around diet. So to make it simple, real food, generally one ingredient, right? Apple, steak, chicken. Yeah, exactly. You start getting a bunch of different things added in there. It's moving further and further away from real food. It still doesn't, because we will get questions that eat by design. I guess technically there's probably a few foods that people could consume that won't fall inside the eat by design protocols. But I'd make the case that in their natural state, they're not necessarily something you would consume. So people will say, well, what about, wheat? Wheat is a real food. It's one word, but if you ever tried to pull wheat off of, the stalk and just eat it, it's not the most enjoyable experience. The same with other grains. So, I think that's easily a starting point. I mean, I guess you can make the same thing with meat. Most people aren't just going to, probably kill an animal and eat it on the spot. So there's some context there, but I think just eat real food is a great starting place for people.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course there's always a way to complicate things, and yeah, it's more than just eat real food, but like that's the foundational principle, right? Like if it's real food, then you're moving in the right direction. I think the other thing, the part B to the email, if you want to get into it or not, is giving yourself grace and like making sure that you're in this for the long term, right? It's not real food, for a bite. It's real food applied over an extended period of time, preferably forever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then that takes the pressure away. Right. Because then it's like, well, I want to eat a hot dog, or I want to eat hamburgers, or I want to eat pizza. Okay, great. Right. We'll eat it. And if you lose control, then just give yourself some grace and get the next meal. And just, if you can liberate yourself from the pressure of I need to eat this, I can't eat this, and that depravity, that depravity creates a lot of stress, right?
It's very similar to fitness or other health endeavors. I think once you notice your mind saying I want to do this versus I need to or I can't do that, then you've made a switch. Then you've had an evolution of the mind in terms of you're approaching it from, I think, a healthier perspective where, to me, it's like, I get to eat steak, right? I get to eat hamburgers tonight. I get to have this. I get to go work out versus, oh my God, I've got to have this amazing chicken dinner. I've got to go lift weights today. There's a time when you're making a transition, I think, especially away from things that aren't going to be moving you towards health. That becomes the struggle. But once you've noticed yourself flip in your mind, that's a great moment because you know that you're on the other side of it now and you're actually going to make choices because you want to, not because you're being forced to, or you've had to be kind of strong-armed into it.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's, and then life gets really fun. And then it's, then you enjoy moving your body, and it becomes less about trying to, hit necessarily a number. You just like what you're doing. And when you like what you're doing, it's really easy to continue and to get the rewards from doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the back to think by design and this idea of pursuing your values. And that's where happiness comes from. So when you're truly pursuing things you care about and, your life is really aligning with your value systems, that's when you're going to be the happiest. And that's when life's going to be great. So I think the work to be done is going back to the values and making sure that the action steps align to that, which is always the actual work when you actually get deep enough into the process. Any last words, Horatio?
No, man, just, again, I was reflecting.
Eat real food.
It's been 12, 13 years of this. Like I didn't, at the beginning, it was probably real food like 50% of the time and crap the other 50% of the time. And as time goes by, you just get better and better at it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, guys. Thank you for joining the drive to 1 million families worldwide living life by design.